down, then when they have understood our culture, you want a plug and play. And that's where Borrow comes in. There's buy. In tech, we are finding that organizations are building bigger and bigger tech teams. Yeah. And they keep telling us, our biggest issue in tech is a high staff turnover. Yeah, but what did you need the people for? Oh, we needed a software built. So actually the discussion Andere and I were having was with an Asian partner we are trying to bring on board who says, I have 100 techies, software developers. Do you have a client who needs anything developed? Because I'm finding in this market, you guys want to keep hiring people and talk about turnover. Is this a discussion we should have? So it's know when to buy. And then lastly, know when to AI. Know when to AI. Because there are certain things that we are doing that we just need to be realistic and say, we as HR professionals, this should be done by AI, and people do something else like interpreting the results of what has come out of that AI or machine learning process for that matter. But on this slide, there's one other aspect I wanted to emphasize, which is we need to create internal marketplaces. And what do I mean by internal marketplaces? And here we are looking at, I'm starting to feel like I'm on the spotlight for real. With all the lights being thrown at me, and I'm starting to think that I need to finish up quickly before they add a few more lights. So think about it. If we're creating dynamic and agile teams, think about the scenario where I want to be part of something, and I know this project is, so a project that is coming up in another 6 months, and I want to be part of it, so I start preparing myself so that I am one of the team members in the organization. We are making it a lot more open. So in the next 6 months, we are going to have a project that is going to re-look at our customer experience. For you to join this team, you need the following qualifications. And you keep it open. And the people then prepare themselves to be part of that team. And that's an internal marketplace. It's crazy. Yes, it is. But we are crazy enough to come for breakfast and talk about creating agile organizations. But there's another interesting fact. Good people. The annual performance review is dead. Just think about it. The annual performance review is dead. And I can see relief on some of your faces. Because whenever you have to go through the performance appraisal process, it is a fight. You already heard Andere saying, sometimes I stand in front of HR. Hey, it's that annual review process. Because it's already adversarial. Last week I had the pleasure of lecturing at Strathmore. One of the articles I made the participants read was actually talking about the performance management revolution. And it was digging deep into this whole concept of saying, why did we even do? Let's understand where all this came from. And it does an analysis from World War II of where it was really a command and control approach, where Jack Welch even came with, the first ranking. If you're not in the top 85% of the organization, then you're in the 15%. And remember, the lion catches the slowest gazelle. So you're part of the slow ones and you're hyped off and fired and good for nothing. But hang on, I'm a human being, and last year it so happened there were many things going on in my life. I lost a loved one or whatever it is. Yes, you go, you need the time off, go deal with your issues. Because that was the kind of structure that had been created. But there was also a fundamental point to this statement, which is our reviews spend a lot of time looking at the past. How do we manage forward? And the only way we can manage forward is take a development approach where we are not saying we don't need to do reviews. What we are saying is one review a year doesn't hurt it. So I'm on a project for 3 months. Review me for the 3 months. Why wait for, I don't know, another 6 months to tell me, on that project you are exceptional. Oh, thank you for telling me now. Thank you. It's fantastic. So what we are actually finding, and organizations have done it, Deloitte has done it for a long time. They have gone through this. I think they started about 2015. They've gone through the whole cycle. So I'll tell you, I've already had even a discussion with them here locally and asked them, I'm reading a lot about you guys and what you've done. What is actually working in this market and what's not? Yeah. And what we found in our discussion is that we still need to do reviews, only that we need to redo the reviews more often. And the biggest message is we continuously need to give feedback, good people. But we have to put our managers in that frame of mind where they are continually giving feedback. And by continually, we mean continually. But I know the question you're all asking. There is a labor law there waiting for you. How do we deal with that? And that's where the different platforms come in. We need to make it exciting for them to record this information. But in comes an even more interesting thing, which is we are finding that you can actually make the reviews fun. And now I can see a bit more smiles because this is interesting. By bringing gamification. So there's a team, they're very clear about the tasks. The tasks have been thought through and will deliver the results. So good people, you get points for hitting, getting the tasks done on time. And now we have platforms for doing that. So all the teams put their tasks in the system, and the system is just giving points. And when you hit the number of points, you unlock a reward, and the rewards are not upfront. You know our people, the gratification must be there, so the rewards are not upfront. Where have we found that it's really working well in this market? We've actually, 2 years ago, we were speaking to a provider from South Africa who was really pushing us in that direction, telling us, you need to introduce this software in the market. We told them, it's a good idea, but we are not sure the market is ready. You will tell us whether the market is ready. But where we have found it's very good is when you link the development focus with continuous learning. And you say, guys, you'll unlock points on our learning system if you're continuously learning. Yesterday, I was having a discussion with one of my colleagues, and they were telling me how there are now apps that are making people, compete on a leaderboard, a step leaderboard. I don't know if some of you are doing that, where it was one thing for me to monitor my steps alone. It's another where I'm part of a leaderboard. So at the end of every day, I know, am I in the top 10 of the people who have walked? So he told me it's got to a stage where people are walking to work. And of course I asked him, and did you? He said, I'm not that crazy. Because people want to be in the leaderboard. So just think of a leaderboard where you're making teams, individuals compete in the organization to be part of the leaderboard from a learning perspective. It's getting exciting. And they are driven themselves. And some of you are looking at me wondering, what has he smoked? I don't know whether it's what he has always smoked. So what we are really saying is we are moving from annual reviews to continuous feedback. We are rethinking about more agile ways. Yes, scorecards, excellent, they help us give, but can we think more of shorter term, ways of driving people? And that's why the whole OKR, objectives and results, discussion is becoming a bigger thing, not just here, but also at a global level. We are reading more into the data that we are collecting on a continuous basis. Remember, we used to depend on performance data at the end of the year. But if we are collecting it throughout, then we know from a HR perspective the interventions that we need to make. We are experimenting with nuance as HR. And that means that we need to be more at the table that matters, so that we are always saying, hey, there's this app, it's only going to cost, and a lot of it is cloud-based. And a lot of it is mobile-linked, which means, we can make people, wherever they are, be a lot more driven, a lot more agile. But we're also building organizations where peer feedback and recognition is important. And this I did speak to a bit earlier. But what's also equally important is layering compensation. And I recall last year we had a discussion with a bank where they were saying, the biggest thing people look forward to in this bank is the annual bonus. And we said, that was good. It was a good discussion. How do we rethink reward systems such that, the big thing you needed to do is deliver a new product, you've delivered it, here you go. And you get, in the moment, reward. Now, that's where we really are. Yeah. And I'm thinking of the balance of monetary and non-monetary rewards, and keeping, of course, the process as transparent as possible. I just want to focus on one because of time, which is the Netflix situation. So there are different case studies, so we will be sharing all this with you. But the Netflix one, why it really strikes a chord with me is these are guys who've done it for over 10 years. So while a lot of the organizations, like Spotify, is still new, yeah, while a lot of the organizations are at the beginning of the curve, they've actually done it and done it quite successfully. And what was the approach? Eliminate the rigid hierarchical structures. And today, from a structure perspective, we're saying the metric structure is the order of the day. So we have functions, this is finance, but there's always an aspect that is cutting across. And then more flexible working policies and approaches. And striking a balance to ensure that we are able to get the people to give their best, because that's really what we are looking at. What was the impact for them? Rapid content innovation, because people thought differently, faster decision making, and very high employee engagement. I mean, when you go online, go to YouTube, look at the videos of employees speaking about working for Netflix, it is telling. They are very proud of where they work. What was the lesson? A culture of trust fosters accountability and agility. And in the agility environment, we have to build organizations that truly trust their people. So in short, what are we saying? Decentralized decision making. And in decentralizing decision making, I always say it's very simple. Always ask yourself, what is the decision that this position cannot make? Because that's it. If they know what they can't do, then they have the rest as their playground. In terms of just for me to transition, it all sounds very good. We need to rethink how we are creating a culture of agility. We need to think our workforce planning. We need to rethink our performance management to manage forward rather than manage backwards. We need to look at our reward systems so that we then end up in a situation where we are able to reward and recognize people more instantaneously. You may be asking, so where is the drawback? What's likely to be the most common barrier? And I'll tell you some of the, because we did quite a bit of research in this, and I'll tell you ironically, one of the things I found is as you adopt all these things, sometimes you lose the basics. And one of the most important basics is thinking. Just look at this situation. So I asked, I'm looking for one of my colleagues, Whitney, in the consulting team. I asked her, please, just go think about this. And she goes into ChatGPT. My boss would like me to think about this. Then she comes back sounding brilliant, because she's a consultant and well-trained. So how do we, in the middle of all that, still keep our focus on critical thinking? And good people, that is going to be one of the things that we do. The more we adapt technology, we're ending up with very well-trained zombies. Because a lot can be done for them. And you can see there are universities that are actually trying to forbid AI because they're saying these are zombies. So one of the things that we advocate for is then help them to think. Undertake thinking programs. They're there. Whether it's critical thinking or lateral thinking with De Bono, it should be part of the thing so that you still have the opportunity of people sitting down together and working out solutions together and then counter-checking them with chat GPT and the others. A few weeks ago, we had a very interesting experience of where we challenged our management team to think about a vision and a mission. And quite a number of people went into chat GPT. And I said, okay, this one is going to be interesting. So you wanted to figure out what your vision is without telling it your vision. So it's an interesting one, and they came up with interesting ideas. So how do we still maintain that thinking ability, the brainstorming, how do we still keep the organization as human? So one of the things we have to keep on doing is we have to keep those human engagements going. Other aspects of operational silos. We work so well as a team. And here you are telling us, okay, now you're going to get back, but these guys are, is another way it works? Yeah. Finance people, the way we already have them. So we need to build more agile teams, good people. And in a bit, I'll be calling Steve to give you an experience of agile teams. How do we overcome organizational resistance from a leadership perspective? And good people, you have to be the trusted partner of your leaders. There is no other way of doing it. They have to believe, because even they themselves will be getting to their point of most discomfort. We have to rethink our organizations so that we can drive faster decision making. So from here you should be thinking, what's one of the most important decisions that we've made as a management team? How would we have made it faster? We have to rethink some of our processes from a HR perspective. So Sam has spoken very nicely about thinking forward of your talent, but our HR manual says at the beginning of the year, we are required 3 things: the annual business plan, the budget, and the manpower plan. Yeah, but you're taking a longer term view, you've thought of what your capabilities are, and that means you need to have competence frameworks that are alive, and you're always revising them, and that's part of the discomfort. We are always revising them and improving them. And in that, it means that we have to be masters of change, good people. This morning I was actually thinking as I was coming, probably we need a change management program for HR leaders. Not one of those certified programs just for HR leaders, because it's what we need to do every day. Yeah, change is what we need to breathe, but sometimes we hear these words, change management, we already get a headache because of the amount of theories being thrown at us. So we need to begin with the change ourselves. And my challenge to you is, where should the change begin? Because if you as HR need to be a lot more agile, what are the capabilities that you require? How do you recruit better talent, whether build, borrow, buy, or tech? It means that we need to fundamentally change the way we think. So when I'm asked which is the biggest resistance, ironically it's in the room. Please look at your neighbor. So good. So before I close, I just want to think of one thing, that if we're going to be pulling people from different departments and making them work together, then we have to create something unique, something special, where what defines you is not the department that you work, is that common understanding, that common belief that you can do the impossible, because that's what it is. And probably just, you have sat for a long time just listening to me. Please stand up. Only need it for 2 months. So we don't need to hire someone for it. We will lend you someone for 2 months. So we have seconded someone there for 2 months. And they will support that organization for the 2 months, then roll off the organization. And repeatedly, we are finding that interim management, and it's very well developed in the Western world, interim management. where you get.
You're good. Good morning. My name is Sam Watene. I'm the managing director, Stratostaff East Africa and Altima Africa. And what we do and do exceptionally well is we empower people and organizations really to thrive. This morning we were hosting over 50 senior HR leaders talking about the topic of creating agile organizations. Because when we look at it, in the world we live in today, it's a much more volatile world. It's a flatter world like we like to look at it, because things that happen in faraway lands directly impact us, whether it's from a food, medical, or knowledge perspective. And we've seen that since Trump came into place, and the kind of changes that he's making that are actually impacting our everyday lives. So in the middle of all that, we needed to have a discussion with these HR leaders in terms of how then do we create organizations that are much more agile, much more versatile. At the same time, we are cognizant of the many generational changes that have happened, and for us in this country, where 70% of our population is youth, how do we create more vibrant organizations that the youth, or as we like to call it, Gen Zs, can actually thrive? Places where they are proud to work, they are proud to do the jobs that they do, and where they actually deliver satisfaction not only for themselves but for the customers that they actually work for. And that really has been the discussion for today. Part of the things that we've discussed is really beginning with agility from a leadership perspective. We are then saying leaders need to be a lot more agile. And what that really means is, first, they need to have the clarity of creating purpose alignment across the organizations that they work in. So really creating a situation where people understand why they do what they do, and also what they're working towards. And that's what in our discussions we are calling the true north, where the true north is really looking at where are we going. And I can't help thinking the context in which we are having these discussions, especially when we look at last year, where part of the people making us change that context. We had all those maandamano, as we called it, the demonstrations, where the Gen Zs were asking for a rallying call from a perspective of doing things fundamentally differently. And what they were asking for was in terms of clarity of where do we as a country want to be, clarity in terms of how we want to get there, and very significantly of clarity of what is their role in getting us there. And that is part of what prompted us to have this discussion, because we may only look at it at the national level, but we needed to debate it at organizational level and ask ourselves, are our organizations responding to this request of, creating the clarity for the youth, of this request of giving them an opportunity to fully engage, so they are not just coming as warm bodies, they are coming as top contributors, and creating environments where they can thrive. And whether it's from doing away with some of the systems we've always had, where from a recognition perspective we review their performance annually, so that we say you need 12 months for us to know how you're performing, yet they have to perform every day. Is that realistic, or should we create organizations and systems that give them feedback on a day-to-day and recognize the good performance, uh, help them and create systems where they can learn faster, systems where they can fail faster too, because the requirement of more agile organizations is organizations that are more innovative, organizations that allow experimentation and actually reward that experimentation. And those are really aspects that we looked at. Organizations that create a culture where people make decisions faster, so that we don't stop the action. We keep the organizations going, and we keep that action not only moving but being continuously rewarded. So gone are the days when the annual performance bonus was really what spurred people on. We need to have smaller rewards that keep people excited about working where they work. And lastly, from a leadership perspective, really clarifying what kind of leaders are then required in a more agile world. I know some people get offended when I say that one of the principles being followed by Donald Trump is the aspect of, make the decision quickly, implement it quickly, but fail quickly, learn, then correct. And I keep hearing people saying, but he's changing his mind. No, that's what we are then saying needs to happen in the organizations as well. We need to make our decisions faster. But because we've made them faster, implement equally as fast. And that way we are able to correct some of the good things that we are doing. And we are bold enough to actually say, yes, we made some firm decisions as a country, for instance, when it comes to SHA, where we have said we are totally transforming the healthcare system. But the boat has already sailed. So yes, some things are not working, we fix them quickly, and we are then able to move on and make the best of it. And these are the kind of discussions that we were then having, because we are saying that way we'll have a more competitive organizations, a more competitive country, and will really be the solution that this country requires. Those are the kind of discussions we had, leading to a situation where people are better empowered, where people can truly thrive where they work every day. Thank you very much, and looking forward to engage with yourselves when the opportunity arises. Naitwa Sam Watene, mimi ndiye mkurugenzi wa kampuni inayoitwa Stratostaff East Africa na nyingine yaitwa Altima Africa. Kazi tunayofanya sisi wenyewe ni sana sana kusaidia wafanyakazi ili waweze si tu kujimudu, lakini waweze kutimiza matumaini yao wenyewe binafsi na kutimiza matumaini ya kampuni wanazofanyia kazi, na si kampuni peke yake. Iwe ni viwanda, kokote kule ambao wanafanyia kazi. Leo tumeongea mambo ya watu wenyewe kujimudu, kuweza kujituma, kwa sababu tukiangalia hii mambo ya agility kwa wafanyakazi, tunataka kila mtu aweze kujituma mwenyewe. Si lazima kuwe na watu wanawasimamia wakiwa vikundi mbalimbali kwa kule wanafanya kazi, wanaweza wao wenyewe kujituma, na uzuri wa kujituma ni atoka moyoni. Sasa tulikuwa tunajiuliza na wakubwa wa wale wanasimamia mambo ya watu ama upande wa HR, tulikuwa tuwazungumza juu ni vipi tuweza kuwa kila mtu, kila mmoja wao asaidie kule anafanya kazi, ili wao wenyewe waweze kuwa ni wao wanajituma, na pia wao wenyewe wanahimizwa ili waweze kuendeleza kazi zao na wazipende zenyewe. Hao ndio mambo tulikuwa tunaongea, na tulipomaliza tulikuwa tunasema kuwa kuna nafasi ya wale waita vijana kazini, ili na wao pia wako na jukumu pia kujenga hii nchi na kujenga mahali wanafanya kazi. Hao ndio mambo tulikuwa tuongelea leo asubuhi. Asanteni.